All right, what's going on, everybody? So this is my top 10 most anticipated games for 2019. Now, keep in mind, this is subject to change because there are several games that most likely will come out in 2019, but they don't have an actual release date yet. So, more announcements are going to happen. Also, pretty much all the games on my list except one are pretty much confirmed to come out in 2019 or very likely to come out in 2019. So if you don't see a game on my list that you expected me to have, it's either the game might have just not made the top 10, even though I am looking forward to it, or I'm actually not looking forward to the game at all, or there is the small chance that I might have forgotten a few titles when I'm considering my top 10, or, the game is probably just not coming out in 2019. But anyway, let's get to the list. So coming in at number 10, I have Control. Yeah, Control, made by Remedy Entertainment, which is pretty much just Quantic Break 2, because I like Quantic Break. I like the gameplay. I thought the game had a lot of potential that wasn't exactly reached, and I don't think a lot of things in the game were executed well. The game just felt underdeveloped. And when I seen Control, I believe it premiered at E3, I became very excited because I feel like this is just I think it's going to be a vastly improved Quantic Break, because I think Remedy is going to take everything they learned from making that game and everything they did wrong and everything they did well, and that's going to turn this project into a much better game. I mean, that kind of sucks for Microsoft because they got the raw end of the deal. Quantic Break is essentially just like an experiment or like an early draft project prototype, and I feel like Control is going to be the final draft or just the better version of the game. So yeah, I just really like the gameplay of Control. It looks like it's gonna be a decent story, interesting plot. So yeah, Control is number 10. Number 9 is Code Vein. So everybody knows I love my Souls games. This game they've been silent on this project for a while since it was delayed. It was supposed to come out like the end of this year, but it got delayed into 2019. And since then, we didn't hear anything about it at all, which I'm not worried about, because that, to me, that just means, they've gone on radio silence to put all their effort into developing the game, because it did seem rough around the edges a little bit. But everybody knows I love my Souls type games. Looks like it has some decent RPG elements. It has some good visuals. Y'all know I love me a challenge. I'm a masochist and everything like that. I think the presentation needed to be cleaned up a little bit, which I'm sure they're doing. This is a game most of these games I would say on my list, I would say most of them are multi-plats, and most of them I will be buying on PC, and even the early versions of this game did seem to be running pretty well. And this seems to be, because there's so many Souls games out there, you can't make your game a clone. So they seem to be adding their own type of flavor or differentiation in gameplay design to make it stand out and make it a little bit different from the rest of the games in this genre. So yeah, I look forward to Code Vein. Code Vein is number 9. So number 8 is Nioh 2, and I went back and forth with my decision for even putting Nioh 2 on my list at all, only because I played so much of Nioh that I got burnt out of it. I beat the game, of course, but I think I put like 85 hours in Nioh, because I did like all the side quests, I did all the unnecessary things in that game that I became so burnt out. And even though I looked forward to Nioh 2, the thought of playing that game still feels like a chore in my mind, because I burnt myself out of by doing all the unnecessary things in Nioh, and I didn't pace myself well. But when I really thought about it, no, I'm definitely excited for this game. Another Souls type game, but played a little bit more like a hack and slash, because it had all these different combos and variations with the weapons, and it made sense that the game played like, you know, almost like a fighter or a hack and slash with all these different moves and you know, combos, because it was made, you know, by Team Ninja. So of course all of that made sense. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Neo 2. I think it was a, you know, Neo was originally a PlayStation exclusive. It came to Xbox and PC. I think this one is just coming to all platforms initially. So I'll be buying you know, it on PC if it's on PC at launch, because even though I enjoyed it on PlayStation 4, you know, they had the different modes, the visual mode and the performance mode, and I think the visual mode ran at like 720p if I remember right. It was pretty low. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna play this on PC so I can get the highest settings possible. So yeah, Neo is number 8 for me. Number 7 is Gears 5. So I really enjoyed Gears 4. I had a lot of fun with it. And as far as like the campaign and the story goes, I want to see if they can up the ante a little bit, because I think that's what Microsoft needs, is, you know, for one of their games to prove that they can have a really engrossing story, a really, you know, memorable single player experience. Because, you know, Gears 4 single player wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything great, anything to write home about. And, you know, I think this single player does need to impress, and I want to see if they can, like I said, up the ante a little bit, go a little bit deeper in terms of the story. You know, with this second trilogy of the Gears franchise, I want to see who they can take it. You know, we were playing as JD and in 4, and now we're playing as Kate, and it makes sense if you played 4 and beat the story. You know, it makes sense story wise for you to play as her in 5. And I don't feel like they fleshed out the new characters enough in 4. And okay, you know, that may be a little bit difficult to do in one game, but I hope they do a lot more of that in 5. We need to know a lot more about these characters. They gotta, you know, tell a better narrative, and build the lore a little bit more in this game, in the world of these new protagonists. And I had a lot of fun with the multiplayer. I'm honestly looking forward more of the multiplayer, because that's a game where we had a lot of fun in this community with, you know, with all the people I, you know, play multiplayer games with, you know, in Discord and everything like that. And there's been a severe lack of multiplayer games this generation that I've liked, at least, and, you know, that I've had fun with. So Gears is honestly probably is one of the few multiplayer games on my list. I think there's only like 3 multiplayer games on my list. So, you know, it's slim pickings this generation in comparison to the last generation as far as, you know, great multiplayer experiences. So Gears is number 7. Number 6 is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. So initially when Sekiro was first revealed, I wasn't impressed with it, because I'm like, I don't feel like they showed enough. Everybody was blown. Yeah, we know it's From Software is making it, and, you know, I trust them as a developer and everything like that, because, you know, they make a lot of the games that I like. But I just didn't feel like enough was shown, and it was like this really quick sizzle reel with a lot of cuts in it. I'm like, I didn't really get to see enough gameplay. But once we saw some actual people playing the game and it wasn't all these cuts, I was like, okay, this looks good. It's gonna have the difficulty, it's gonna have, you know, the great bosses and the great boss design, the great level design. Visuals look good. We know From Software is trying to depart from the, you know, the Souls styling of, you know, what we're used to a little bit. They wanted to, you know, get away from that a little bit. They were tired of making the same thing. So, you know, Sekiro looks really fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. So it's number 6. Number 5 is Rage 2. Now, listen, let me tell you something. I think Rage 2 is going to blow a lot of people's minds. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised at how amazing and how praised I think this game is going to be, because I'm one of the people who always said Rage, the original Rage wasn't a terrible game. I just think that game got a bad rap. Was it amazing? No. There was a lot of faults in it, but I think I always felt like this game had great potential, and there was no reason, I saw no reason a game like Rage should not get a sequel. I think any original game that shows you it did several things well, I think it only makes sense for you to give that game a sequel.